Support for Louisiana, the state we're in, is provided by
Entergy Louisiana is strengthening our power grid throughout the state. We're reinforcing infrastructure to prepare for stronger storms, reduce outages, and respond quicker when you do need us, because together we power life.
additional support provided by the Fred B. and Ruth B. Ziegler Foundation and the Ziegler Art Museum, located in Jennings City Hall. The museum focuses on emerging Louisiana artists and is a historical and cultural center for Southwest Louisiana, and the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting and viewers like you. Thank you.
A recent report highlights concerns about the water many Louisiana residents drink each day. We'll talk to experts about why lead contamination doesn't get enough attention.
Rebuilding and replanting Louisiana's critical barrier islands. I'll take you on a tour of one project to strengthen a key line of defense for coastal areas.
And we're just months away from the Super Bowl in New Orleans. Sports correspondent Victor Howell sits down with Roman Harper to talk about all of the events leading up to the big game.
And we are kicking off the holiday season this week with a look at a holiday tradition in New Orleans. High tea at the Windsor Court Hotel. Let's get started.
Let's do it.
Hello, everyone. I'm Karen LeBlanc.
And I'm Dorothea Wilson. Much more on those top stories in a moment on this week's edition of Louisiana, the state we're in. But first, advocates are sounding the alarm about Louisiana's aging infrastructure. Some of the state's oldest cities may have unsafe drinking water due, in part, to outdated lead pipes. I spoke with one organizer of a recent study to learn more about the health impacts of lead contamination.
It's not just a Flint issue, it's a New Orleans issue, it's a Buffalo, New York issue, it's a Washington, D.C. issue, it's a Chicago issue. It's an everywhere issue.
Louisiana ranked third among states with the most dangerous drinking water in the country, as over 36% of residents who received water from public systems had health-related violations. Of the cities affected, New Orleans and surrounding areas had astoundingly high levels of contaminants in the water.
New Orleans has an ongoing lead issue because of how old we are. And the problem is the density and the scope. Sewage and Water Board has a massive undertaking on their hand where we always thought, well, lead is just an issue in the French Quarter, it's just an issue in the Marigny or Bywater, and it is an issue there, but it's also an issue in Lakeview, it's also an issue in Algiers, it's also an issue in New Orleans East, because lead, like a lot of things, travel, and if you have the right-of-way or the public line has lead, that means you have lead.
In a recent study conducted by Jessica Dandridge and the Water Collaborative of Greater New Orleans revealed that 88% of homes tested in the city showed detectable levels of lead in their water. This is largely due to old lead pipes still present in the plumbing of many older homes. Lead can cause major health problems if too much enters the body. It can cause damage to the brain and kidneys and can also interfere with the production of red blood cells that carry oxygen throughout the body. It can even negatively impact mental and emotional health, often leading to depression and rage.
Especially children, because those are their developmental years. It can have a huge impact on, one, your overall neurological health, right? So how you think, your emotions. It also has a huge impact on your mental health. And then again, of course, you know, over time, as you age, that can impact your organs. It is with you for a lifetime.
In another study done by the Lead Crime Hypothesis, there is substantial evidence linking lead exposure to a heightened risk of criminal behavior, particularly violent crimes, which often occur in more impoverished areas.
We oftentimes think of poor people as more crime-ridden, especially when you think about the racist ideas that Black people are more, prone to crime, or maybe it's just that we're more prone to drinking lead water, right? I'm not saying that that's what the issue is, but I'm saying there needs to be more done on the subject.
So how do we fix this?
I think the first thing is knowledge is power. So get your home tested for lead. That's the first step. The second one is if you do have lead, your options are, the most important one is to mitigate that. Let Sewage and Water Board know, hey, I found lead in my home. This is what I found, it's this many parts per billion. Or the next part of that is to get a filter or a reverse osmosis system. There's a bunch of different versions out there now, thankfully, not just one. But the best thing we found is the EPA approved the Brita filter with lead that does lead removal. The last thing is to advocate and advocate for yourself. You're already paying for the water that's coming out of your faucet. Why pay twice? But again, we have to make it a national issue. It can't be swept aside. It's just as important as your air. It's just as important as the land that you stand on. Water is your life, 70% of your body. You have to use water to feed your pets and your children, as well as water your plants. It is more important than anything, and we have to start prioritizing that in this country.
Louisiana voters approved 4 new amendments to the state constitution in last Saturday's election. The first will add 5 political appointees to the Judiciary Commission, which oversees complaints against judges. Under Amendment 1, the House Speaker and the Senate President will each select 2 new members, and the governor will select 1. Amendments 2 and 3 will give the legislature more time to process budget laws or extend the legislative session. The 4th Amendment will change the process for dealing with tax delinquent properties. From hashtags to headlines, here is what's trending this week. If you are shopping for the little ones in your life, this may help.
That's right, Karen. The National Toy Hall of Fame has inducted some familiar items. Now, get this. My Little Pony, Transformers, and the card game Phase 10 were all inducted this year. And I would like to say, yes, I would like to say all of which I played with, especially My Little Pony. Oh, the Little Pony.
Okay, yeah, I love the Little Pony, but where's Strawberry Shortcake and the Smurfs? Come on. They left those off the list.
They sure did. But other toys also that didn't quite make the cut included balloons, the trampoline, and the Pokemon card game.
Well, a lot of people are probably blasting Christmas music in the car, and a new report ranks the most popular holiday song in each state. Now get this, the report looked at Google Trends to see which songs people searched for the most, and in Louisiana, the top spot went to Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Wow, now that's surprising because I would think it would be Jingle Bells, but they did come in the top 15, and people had a love-hate relationship with Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas, and I get that because I am so tired of her in that song, Karen.
I am a Mariah Carey fan. I am actually going to her pop-up holiday Christmas bar in New Orleans next week. Oh yeah, in all the glory.
Now, Karen, for a lot of people, the Rose Parade on New Year's Day is a big tradition, and it's also becoming a big tradition for Louisiana tourism leaders. Now, for the 4th year in a row, the state will have its own float and musical performers.
Now, this year's theme is Louisiana Saturday Night, and there is always musical guests, some famous Louisiana musicians, and this year we've got the rockin' Cajun fiddler Waylon Thibodeau, which I recently just did a story because he's also a tradition bearer. There's also country music star Timothy Wade, nephew of Tim McGraw, and musician Christian Surplus. And they bring in volunteers from Louisiana to hand put these roses on the float. It's amazing to see.
Awesome.
Well, on to some good news across the state. Grand Terre Island, just a half-mile from the Gulf of Mexico in Jefferson Parish, is a key piece of the area's defense against hurricanes. The island has been losing ground to erosion, putting Louisiana's coastal communities at risk. I'm taking you on a trip to the island to see the latest efforts to replant solid ground.
Grand Terre Island holds on to its strategic importance to Louisiana, although history has altered its purpose. Once a home base for pirate Jean Lafitte and his Baratarians to plunder passing ships. Later, the site of Fort Livingston, a staging area for the Confederate Army during the Civil War. Today, Grand Terre Island protects Louisiana's coastline as a buffer from storm surges. but it has taken a beating since its inhabitants abandoned it in the 1870s.
This particular area was impacted during the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. There was a significant amount of oil and mats of oil that washed up on the shoreline.
The oil spill on April 20th, 2010, poisoned Grand Terre's ecosystem of tidal ponds, estuaries, and vegetation, compounding the island's habitat and land loss from hurricanes and storms.
When the storms come in, these islands are built to take those waves and break those wave momentums down, therefore protecting our inland communities, lowering the effects of the storms. In addition to that, this island is home to some critical habitat, so our vegetation today is going to serve dual purposes.
To prevent Grand Terre from losing more ground as a strategic storm buffer, volunteers with Restore Retreat planted 6,500 clusters of black mangrove and vermilion smooth cordgrass.
The vegetation is going to help with sediment retention to protect the island so that when the storms do come in, then helps to lower the storm surge and the storm speed and height. Then additionally, the vegetation is going to provide homes for our migratory species, our birds, our fisheries, communities. The island is home to a unique species of birds we've got here. We've got skimmers and avocets and two species of pelicans that we see quite frequently.
One of the important things, the vegetation that the volunteers are putting out here, the roots of that vegetative material, in a wetland situation, you can kind of think of that as the branches and the trunk of the tree, and then the leaves are like the leaves on a tree. So that branch, actually, those roots that are in the ground, they'll expand and they'll grow and they'll allow the marsh platform to keep pace with sea level rise over time. That organic matter, that organic layer on top of the mineral layer, the sand and the silt and sediment that's here.
$8 billion from the Deepwater Horizon oil spill settlement fund much of Louisiana's coastal restoration efforts. However, the revenue stream ends in 2032. Louisiana is now looking for replacement funding, with initiatives including Constitutional Amendment Number 1, voters passed in November 2024. It dedicates federal revenues the state receives from renewable energy sources such as wind and solar to the Coastal Protection and Restoration Fund. State Representative Joseph Ogeron authored the legislation.
Anyone who lives up and down Bayou Lafourche, Grand Isle is important, and West Grand Terre is kind of like the sister island that you can't get to, by car, that you have to get to by boat. And the additional monies that Louisiana would get, not only from the renewables, but from additional oil and gas revenues, would help fund the Coastal Restoration Plan, the master plan for years beyond whenever the BP oil spill runs out.
The planting supports barrier island restoration, one of the key techniques that the Coastal Protection Restoration Authority uses to restore coastal wetlands.
We dredged sediment from about 5 miles away and piped it onto the islands, create a marsh platform. So behind me, this is where I'm standing, was open water before the project was built. The sediment was filled in. Eventually, it's going to vegetate up and we'll have a nice marsh platform. We're out here today with Restore Retreat to get that vegetation growing.
For Polly, the volunteer effort is a full circle moment. As she was planning the two-phase planting project, she discovered a personal connection.
There was a marine lab that was here on the island, and it was built in 1955 to 1958. It was built for the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries, and it was home to our fisheries biologists and trained a lot of the state's biologists. It was a very well-built structure, withstood a lot of storms. We've just recently learned that I have the personal connection to it, learning in 2022 that through some opportunities for me to plant the island, that my father was the one who designed and built the marine lab. He was the project engineer and designer.
The lab closed in 2005 after Hurricane Katrina heavily damaged the island. Today, surrounding vegetation swallows the remains of Fort Livingston, not a sign of decay, but one of renewal, as Grand Terre reclaims its habitat, putting the island on solid ground again.
Tickets are on sale now for Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans. If going to the game is not an option, there will be a host of events for the entire family. LPB Sports correspondent Victor Howell sat down with former New Orleans Saint Roman Harper for a look at all the fun.
Roman Harper back in New Orleans, and it is Super Bowl time. It's great to see you. How are things?
I'm doing great. I can't really complain. The weather's pretty good, pretty decent, especially compared to where I'm living right now in Charlotte. For me to get 70 degrees right now, this is amazing.
When you think Super Bowl, I know you're on the media side now, but go back to playing days. When it's time for Super Bowl, what are the thoughts that come back to you?
When you're playing in that game, you're just hyper-focused on just trying to get your job done. That you get 2 weeks to prepare, so you get a little bit more extra study time, all the little details and nuances that go into trying to win you a game. This is when you're really trying to fine-tooth everything. Like, what else is one thing that I'm leaving out that I could maybe get a jump on to be able to anticipate this one play for this one moment? Like, you just never know what is going to be that game changing play. And so just being prepared for your moment. I just love the fact that New Orleans is the host city, that New Orleans is such a walkable city. So many people love to come and visit this city when their teams come here and play. And the fact that the NFL continues to choose the city of New Orleans to host the Super Bowl in this game just kind of lets everybody know how much they value this city, how much the environment matters, and that, you know, New Orleans, we always behave right. And when the NFL comes, and then we know how to have a good time.
Even back when I was covering you and you were in Miami, you had media day.
Yes.
Now it's opening night. And,
right.
and it's changed a lot because it seems they really want to get the people involved. So let's talk about that first, about how it's changed for them and what opening night is about, and for those throughout the state that are watching, if they want to be a part of it.
Yeah, it went from media day to opening night. And so why is it that now? It's because now they're opening it to the fans, which is this. They've been doing that since Super Bowl 49. We won it in 44. So since Super Bowl 49, they've allowed the fans to come and be a part of it. It's $20 to come in, and bring your headphones as well, because you can actually listen into the interviews as they're going on. And I also say go, because it'll be the first time you get to see the actual Superdome, because it'll be in the Superdome. So you get to see the Superdome in its Super Bowl colors, and how they're going to dress it and how they're going to have it looking that day.
You get past opening night, it becomes business for the players, but at least for those in New Orleans and the greater southern area here in Louisiana along the coast, you can also experience it, because I know the other thing that they have is the NFL experience. And to your point about the city, the hotels, restaurants closed, but so is the convention center. And everything converts to the chance for the fans to really be a part of what you've done, tackling dummies, run a 40. You know, I mean,
I love that. The running the 40 is my favorite thing, because a lot of people think they're way faster than they are. And I call that clock the truth. And so the truth hits just a little bit different for everybody. But yes, the Super Bowl experience is, in my opinion, the most valued and one of the best things that the NFL offers to whatever Super Bowl host city when they come in town. I love the fact that you're going to have food, you're going to have live music, entertainment, tackling dummies, like you said. Kids are playing football. You're going to be able to like throw the ball into the little hoops and stuff. You're actually going to have the 40-yard dash. And they're going to have different prizes and other things that are available for you. One of the coolest things that I think the NFL offers is a live rendition, or they have a casing of all the Super Bowl rings of all the teams past. Right. So all the way from Super Bowl 1 to all the way into Super Bowl 58, you'll get to see that team's version of whatever Super Bowl ring that they have. And so some of them are way more godlier than others.
I was saying,
but
here's a hint, they've gotten bigger.
They have gotten
bigger and
way
brighter.
bigger over the years. I agree with you. That one of the Patriots rings, I think one of their third ones, one of my friends, Jonathan Casillas, who won a Super Bowl with us in Super Bowl 44, has one of those Patriot rings. And dude, it's like, like, where are you wearing that at?
That's right, exactly. It's impressive. You can see it all. And I know there's also a special night, HBCU, for the schools in Louisiana as well. They just had it at the Bayou Classic, but I think band competition and showcase, right?
So yes, that'll be Thursday night. Super fun. I love that the NFL's continue to be inclusive, to continue to reach back and pull forward. I grew up in an HBCU family, so my parents both went to Alabama State, graduated from there. So that's all I knew growing up was Alabama State and the Marching Hornet Band. So I just happened to get recruited by Alabama, and choose to go there. But I love the fact that we're going to continue to celebrate our HBCUs, because we got to understand where the NFL came from. For a long time, our black and African American players could not play in the PWIs and these larger schools that we talked about. So a lot of the talent came from HBCUs, and now that they're allowed to go to other PWIs or bigger schools, Now, make sure that these schools and these universities are not forgotten about.
Maybe one of the biggest things I think you said is it's tough to get tickets to the game.
Yes.
If this gets you as close to the full experience coming down to New Orleans, even if it's for a day, a couple of days, but everything you were listing, this is really a chance for you to bring the entire family. It's something for all ages.
It's something for all ages, and these are memories and things, core memories that as an adult we tend to forget our core memories and like what those moments were like at times. But as I have my own children now, I value those times, those moments so much more now. You know, I got to bring my son with me to Super Bowl to the NFL draft in Detroit. And he was just like, Dad, this is the absolute coolest thing ever. It puts such a smile on my face, and it really brings me great joy. So I would encourage all of our parents to get out there and do that for our children. That, you know, they're not going to cost you anything. You know, paying for yourself is one thing, but to do something special for your kid, to allow them to have that moment that they'll cherish. And it's other things. It's not just like you're past playing and kicking the football. You know, you also have locker rooms of all your other different players. And then also on the Super Bowl experience at the convention center, they will also have current NFL players and past legends there, so you will have autograph opportunities as well. So you just never know who you're going to meet, what your kid's going to be able to do, and what may be that one inspiring thing that you get to share with your child.
Well, it's always great to see you. All the best.
Thank you, Ben. Appreciate it. Thank you.
As the holiday season kicks into full swing, a luxurious tradition takes center stage at one of New Orleans' most iconic hotels. The Windsor Court welcomes guests to its elegant holiday high tea, including several treats, a festive atmosphere, and the perfect way to celebrate the season with family and friends.
New Orleans is said to be one of the most magical cities to be in during the holidays. The city comes alive with its special blend of customs, celebrations, and community gatherings that make the season unforgettable. City streets transform into winter wonderlands, and area hotels are overflowing with extravagant decorations, delicious food, and a festive atmosphere rich in holiday traditions. The Windsor Court is no exception. Built in 1984, the London-inspired construction was created to make guests feel like royalty. The lobby doors open to a massive bouquet of live roses from a local florist, who delivers every week to keep them fresh. And throughout December, guests are greeted with a 19.5-foot Christmas tree with a handcrafted toy train riding full steam ahead around the base. I took a tour with Isabel Marciante, who shared with me the wonder that embodies the Windsor Court during the holiday season.
Aside from our main tree in the lobby, we have 8 other trees in the hotel that are actually recovery efforts from the hurricane in Asheville, and this is an example of one of them right outside the Polo Club Lounge.
I love that. You know, it's always good to see us giving back. You know, we've gone through so much in New Orleans, and to be able to be a part of something like that is awesome.
To acknowledge that and help other people, and especially to make it about Christmas, is amazing. And it smells great. I wish there was smell of it, because
it does smell
the
great.
whole hotel smells like pine right now. And a lot of the ornaments, there's some that are new and there's some that we've been using for decades. So this is the very iconic Polo Club. There is a pianist player every day, and then there's a live band on Fridays and Saturdays. It gets very lively during the holidays. It's very worth checking out.
Absolutely. I like it in here.
This holiday season, the Polo Club features mulled wine, eggnog, and a winter mint martini. As we walk the halls on our way to the main attraction, we passed by several of the hotel's paintings, sculptures, tapestries, and furnishings from more than 60 artists from the 17th through the late 20th centuries. These displays of art were all part of the hotel's $12 million collection, established to add to the European ambiance in the hotel. On to the main attraction, holiday tea at the Windsor Court. One of the most treasured traditions in New Orleans and a centerpiece of the holiday season, the Windsor Court continues to present a beautiful British tea experience.
The Windsor Court tea at Christmas time is the best way to kick off the holidays and to give yourself and your friends a treat.
Families come from all over the South to experience decadent English tea sandwiches, house-made seasonal scones served with raspberry preserves, Devonshire cream, lemon curd, and vanilla bean whipped cream, coveted sweet tarts, chocolate-covered strawberry and truffle, miniature cake, and tarts while a harpist sets the atmosphere. As we waited for our tea to be served, Isabel talked to me about what makes the holiday tea so special.
When I did tea, it was really heartwarming to see, like, people would tell me, like, I've been coming here since 1991. We opened in 1984, and I would say, especially during the holidays, upwards of 70% of our guests, they're all locals. So it's all New Orleanians or people from the Baton Rouge area coming in specifically to go to tea, and they've been coming here for years. They start making reservations in July. It's an ongoing thing, and it's very special. It's a thing that even my family has made a tradition to come to tea.
And she was right. Many of the guests said they've made holiday tea part of a new lifelong tradition and will pass it along to their children. One group of moms said the elegant atmosphere gives them a much-needed break from the day-to-day struggles of motherhood and allows them to laugh, cry, and bond over tea.
Well, we're a group called Fab Five and Friends, and we started like 25 years ago. We all have a child with special needs, and we started this tradition of coming and doing the tea to kick off Christmas and the holidays, and also to give us a treat. You know, we've had a year of being moms and all that entails, and this is a treat for us, and it's beautifully decorated, and we just enjoy doing it.
After an afternoon of tea and treats, the last stop is the wishing tree.
So here we have our wishing trees. We encourage all of our guests to come here and write down a wish, put it on the tree, and hopefully it comes true.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a wish.
Do it.
Okay. And you have to keep your wish a secret, right?
I won't look.
And it wouldn't be right if I didn't leave a wish for you all to have a happy holiday.
Now that's just a small sample of all of the holiday events going on around Louisiana. Be sure to watch Louisiana, the state we're in, next week for our annual holiday special.
And we will take you to each corner of the state to see traditional events along with new experiences, so you don't want to miss this.
That's right.
Well, that's our show for this week. Remember, you can watch anything LPB anytime, wherever you are, with our LPB app.
And you can catch LPB news and public affairs shows, as well as other Louisiana programs you've come to enjoy over the years. And please like us on Facebook, X, and Instagram.
For everyone at Louisiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Karen LeBlanc.
And I'm Dorothea Wilson. Until next time, that's the state we're in.
Support for Louisiana, the state we're in, is provided by
Entergy Louisiana is strengthening our power grid throughout the state. We're reinforcing infrastructure to prepare for stronger storms, reduce outages, and respond quicker when you do need us, because together we power life.
Additional support provided by the Fred B. and Ruth B. Ziegler Foundation and the Ziegler Art Museum, located in Jennings City Hall. The museum focuses on emerging Louisiana artists and is a historical and cultural center for Southwest Louisiana. And by Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Visit Baton Rouge. And the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting and viewers like you. Thank you.